Hey, folks, we're back and we're talking, as Al and John were talking about, superintelligence, which I'm not quite clear is any different than what we call, is it
AGI?
AGI.
It's
Yes.
artificial general intelligence. But there's a report now that Meta is out trying to train machines to think like humans by starting over and treating them like babies and trying to teach them from the very beginning everything you need to know to be a human. And of course, they have been spending mountains of money just trying to attract talent. John, I know you've been covering this space a little while, but it seems like, especially out in the Valley, everybody and his brother who can have AI on their resume is now worth $1 billion plus. But how real is superintelligence to you?
I think it is real. I mean, you alluded to, Mike, this teaching study. Well, what Meta's doing is their researchers are studying how babies learn. So one of the examples is a simple action like throwing a tennis ball into the air and predicting what it will do to require to catch it. And they're looking at things like the ability to form full sentences. There's a chief AI scientist at Meta who said they're building a world model akin to embedding an AI agent with common sense. But it kind of all goes back to, we talked about superintelligence and AGI, and they kind of blur together for me at times. But simply, Meta is trying to create this AI lab that would surpass human intelligence with superintelligence. So there's this research lab under development. This is the news where Meta had acquired essentially Scale AI CEO. They made an investment of about $15 billion in Scale AI, or 49% of the company. Zuckerberg is very heavily engaged in this, evidently, reportedly, spearheading this effort. And he's trying to put together this superintelligence group of 50 top AI researchers and engineers. And since he's not happy with Meta's AI efforts, and so he has kind of taken the lead in putting together this team in which they're offering these incredible pay packages, and they're trying to poach people from OpenAI with packages worth up to $100 million. And the idea is to move beyond AI research to a more specialized focus on AGI and ultimately superintelligence. And the idea is they're going to weave AGI, and let's just stick with AGI. They want to weave it across their product suite of chatbots, augmented reality glasses, and other projects that we don't know about. So in a sense, this is where they're going. And it all kind of ties in what we talked about yesterday with this incredible amount of money that these companies are spending. I think in the case on data centers, in the case of Meta, I think it's $60 to $65 billion they claim this year alone. It's going to be interesting to see this race and this concept of a superintelligence lab. It also shows Zuckerberg's ultimate frustration with Llama 4, and kind of trying to move forward and trying to gain some sort of competitive edge. But again, as Alan has said, and we all have agreed upon this the last couple of days, it's all about the companies with the resources sitting on piles of cash who are going to be able to do this and try to gain some sort of advantage over everyone else and then hook the rest of us in.
So, John, I'm so confused. You know, I before doing the gang today, I was texting with Daniel Newman from Futurum.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, he's been very keen about this.
But we were talking from the way Daniel and I were talking, and the way Daniel's explaining it. Superintelligence is sort of a way station on the way to AGI. It sounds like you're saying superintelligence is beyond AGI.
Yes. That's based on what has been reported out of Meta. They consider it the next threshold or next level. But then again, they use these phrases so often interchangeably that I almost would prefer, just to simplify things, to just continue with the AGI reference. Superintelligence is probably new marketing spin or marketing branding of it. Maybe they've just decided that it has more sex appeal. But in a sense, the project within Meta is this superintelligence lab that they're working on.
Yeah. Well, the data center, they're building two of these data centers. One's in Ohio, and that's the big one. That's,
right.
I forgot.
Hyperion, which is
Prometheus. Prometheus is the one in Ohio.
Yeah, Louisiana.
Hyperion is in Louisiana. It's going to be bigger than Manhattan, Ira. Right? No, I'm not kidding. They said it's going to be bigger than Manhattan. One day, a data center complex.
Also, OpenAI is working on something in Texas that they claim is a data center that can be the size of Central Park.
Yeah, no, that's small potatoes. That's
smaller than Manhattan.
But it's just, again, the scale. You think about it, it's like near.
But let's bring Lisa in here for a minute. It seems to me, Lisa, that the definition of AGI keeps changing, and it is becoming more of a marketing term, and the goalposts are shifting. And, for what's supposed to be really just research and development, there sure is a lot of marketing spin here. What's going on from your perspective?
There is. I actually, great to see you guys. I agree with John that superintelligence is a sexier term, and folks are really wrapping their heads around it. I won't say people can wrap their heads around it, but I was just on stage at a big conference a couple months ago and interacting with a robot, talking about superintelligence and what it's going to be enabling everyone to do. From a marketing perspective, marketers I talk to every week, everyone's, and I've said this on this program before, heavily leaning into AI-powered marketing tools. What they're Gen AI, they're using it for content creation, for videos, et cetera. Now they're leaning into how to deploy AI agents. So that's where marketers are in really understanding, well, how can AI agents actually be on our org chart, help marketers leverage these tools to enhance campaigns, improve customer engagement? How can agents help marketers create more personalized, more engaging customer experiences? But I think from a terminology perspective, it is a little bit blurry. And I think I like John's point of superintelligence being it's kind of like a sexier.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lisa, because in a weird way, think back to when Facebook or Meta, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, when they were throwing billions of dollars into the metaverse. Remember that? That big push? A metaverse then became, and I went back and forth with Facebook about this. They renamed the company, and I said, so you basically squandered billions of dollars in this metaverse push. And they're like, no, you're wrong. It's not a metaverse. It's AI now. So it's like a moving goalpost.
Yeah.
They kind of redefine.
Well, they're just right. That's pure spin.
Yeah, actually.
Well,
but guys, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ira.
Well, could I just point out what this company is essentially doing I like to simplify things. This company is essentially training AI data right now, because this whole concept of superintelligence, again, I look at the fundamentals. Fundamentally, when you have artificial intelligence, using my Dr. Evil quotes, artificial intelligence requires models, it requires data, and it requires the tuning of these models with the data at hand. So when they're talking about, when I read the articles, it's like, oh, they're talking about a child, how a child slowly learns. No, what they're doing is they're talking about taking data, forcing it into their programs, and then figuring out how to tune and train their AI programs to anticipate the right data. Like you said, a ball being thrown up in the air. What they're really doing is they're saying, okay, here's the trajectory of a ball. A person watches the ball intuitively and figures out where it's going to land. What they're essentially doing is tuning their mathematical models to calculate where it's going to land. Now, to Alan's point again and again, this is a case where the haves are going to beat out the have-nots. And the reason that this is important is that Zuckerberg and everyone else are investing billions of dollars into pre-training these AI models so that they can better think. And the fact that they have these very well-trained AI models, possibly definitely years, if not decades ahead of everyone else, is going to make their models that much better in the future. And everybody's going to either have to license them or catch up. Now, I see Fred shaking his head. I don't know if he agrees or disagrees.
Yeah, what I think is interesting is the way that we talk about the storyboard of what the mission is in these particular cases. And so if you look at the mission for Anthropic, right, which is to have a steerable, interpretable AI, and you look at XAI as to understand the universe, what Meta wants to do basically is have an AI assistant for every person on the planet. They're very different sort of goals. And when you look at the overall outcomes, Ira 100%, if you look at each of those organizations, their mission's based off of the data they have, for sure. But the intention behind that is the question mark that I have, right? These labs are basically a supercomputing Cold War that's happening right now. And the characteristics of those things are how fast, which models, and then what's the value for the end user. I think the curious part there is going to be what happens after all of that data analysis has been run through, and what does the democratization look like?
So on yesterday's show, our friend Guy Courier said something really made me think, and I thought about it a bunch yesterday and last night. You talk about their mission, Fred. Let me tell you what could be another mission here that is not said out loud. When you look at Zuck, and you look at Elon Musk, and you look at the, Larry and Sergey from Google and Sam Altman and all these AI tech bros, Peter Thiel, the whole bunch of them, this whole cabal of tech bros, multi-billionaire AI tech bros. Are they really doing this for the money? Are they doing it for the ego to say they were first? Or are they doing it for immortality? Are they looking to set up systems that they can download into and live forever? And it's going to take, and that is the ultimate billionaires club, right?
Is there anybody who thinks that, training AI for intelligence based on humanity is kind of a fool's errand? Because I'm like,
well, no, because Facebook is trying to give it a human touch, because for them it's about robot. They're not looking to get developers developing more code or security people making better security. They're looking to do humanoid robots, very humanistic sort of interface. But make no mistake, that immortality is a thing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right.
Agree.
They're motivated by all of the above, but especially the mortality angle.
Sure, everybody has to live forever, but they have the money to actually
They can do it. Yeah,
try to do it. And it's out of a Hollywood kind of script, right? Anyway, let's take a break. We're going to be back here on Tech Strong Gang. We've got one more. Poor Elmo. What happened to our little Elmo? You're watching Tech Strong Gang.